Introduction thing. Hi, this is Simon with ToughTrader.com and Trading Perform Coaching, doing a trade review of CL, which as I'm looking at it is freaking tagging 5250 like I thought it would. I bailed on it 20 cents ago. And I wanted to set up the CL trade. We just got done reviewing ES in the room. So let's do CL really quick. So number one, if we look at CL's chart, right? Same rules apply to all markets. Doesn't matter, right? So number one, I'm going to duplicate this chart. Number one, chart, duplicate chart so I don't mess up all my beautiful work. Chart settings, and let's just do 20 days worth of data because we don't need all that stuff. Here we go. My main chart's left, and I can destroy that when we're done. Oh, by the way, trading futures, you can lose a lot of money doing it. There's a lot of risk. Do yourself a favor, don't start trading futures if you haven't already done so. It's not the easiest way to make money in the world until you get good at it. Anyways, so let's get rid of all this. What did we have, right, for today? Why is this doing this, right? Well, if you look, right, I guess that's all the days. Number one thing you see here, this is a balance area. Notice, whenever we've been getting down here, market's been going up. Whenever we got up here, you can just see the whole area is a balance area, right? Number two, there's no news today, right? It's freaking Monday, okay? Number three, we had, this was Friday, right? This is Monday, right? Here's your old swing low. I didn't do a very good job of this, by the way, guys, on the chart. I apologize. I was tired when I did it. Old swing low. Friday, this I would have this like this because it wasn't the swing low, but it was pretty darn close. So I'm going to dash it, right? Okay, so two things. If you'll notice what CL likes to do, and all markets like to do, see how we get below prior day's low, and we like to, especially in bull markets, get below prior day's low, trap everybody, and shoot the other side of the range. See how it keeps doing it? Prior day's low, we get below it, shoot the range, right? It's not a big secret. Get below prior day's low, shoot the range, right? At some point, you had to get a response off the prior day's low. Next, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days down, right? Okay, so I know CL can trend, but it generally doesn't go, nothing goes straight down for the most part, right? So that's your next clue. Clue number three, see the chart over here to the left, and this I did have marked. There's two places this market was going to go, and I actually need more days so everyone can see this. Give me just 1 second. Man, I had CL just on the nose, didn't I, guys? Damn, that was just a nice trade today. Okay, the next place it was going to go is one of two areas without going through massive in-depth conversation. We're either going to come back and test this back over here, which was way the heck away. It was 50 bucks, right? Can it make it? Yeah, but it was a big stretch from where we were. And then number two, this would have been my next white zone. I'm going to leave it orange, but if I was going through and doing the chart, that was the white zone, right? But this was the closest thing that needed to be repaired, right? And then what were the other pieces? We're in balance, right? Top of the range, bottom of the range, edges of the range, right? So I want to point out again, bottom of range, top of range, edge, edge, right? You had to get below and hold below this thing to break down, right? So how are you going to do that on Monday when there's no news? So you're going to have something. You better know something that no one else knows, right? And plus, CL's been going up, so there's probably people looking to buy it, right? I'm not a rocket scientist or a fundamental analyst, right? But the damn thing's been going up. We've been coming from 45 all the way up to 55, and it's ripped the shorts a new head over the last couple of weeks, right? So I know if I get underneath here, where's the natural place to test? This right here, right? If I get underneath prior day's low, this is what wants to be tested. This is what I have to get over, and then this is what needs to be repaired, generally speaking, okay? And then there's stuff above. But that's the lay of the land coming in on the day, right? So that gives us the big picture of what we're looking for. We know where charts have to be repaired. We know where the stretch areas are, right? And remember, we're not just taking them blindly. We're now letting the market tell us what it wants to do. We're watching the participants and how they are behaving instead of predicting market behavior. Yes, I said 5250, but 5250 wasn't a stretch because there's not a damn thing between the trap, right? There's not a damn thing between here and there. So it wasn't like I was a rocket scientist. I said, That's what needs to get fixed next, right? We've already fixed this on Friday, so it's from here to here. Whatever we get down here, that's the logical place to come back. Does it have to? No, but if you're going to guess, it's a good place to guess. Okay, so let's go to the next. Does anyone have any questions in the room before I proceed? Am I clear on everything? Because I want all the members to understand what I'm looking at and why I wanted this trade so badly. So I'm going to take a minute to pause. Randy, Bill, Joshua, anyone? Have I explained the TPO clearly? Or at least semi-clearly? Yeah. Okay, great. So, next. So we take this chart, right, and we come over here and we look at, I got to find it. It's on one of my other screens, but I have it. Okay, well, let's look at it from the 5-minute perspective first, right? That doesn't give us much data, but we can look. So notice, first, we came to the white zone, pressed a little bit past it, and shot up, right? Super, right? No problem. You could have also actually shorted down to it if you wanted to, but that's a whole other conversation, right? We get above it. We backside test the white zone. That's pretty normal. See how they try to hold it? Now, you got to imagine when you're looking at a 5-minute chart, what the hell's going on in here? Well, someone's looking at this going, we're going to zero, right? They look at the 5-minute bars, they go, they can't stop selling. This is, remember, this is all they see to this point, right? This is all you see to this point. You go, oh, we broke the swing to the left at 2 a.m. We're below London low. Let's go to zero, right? Come over a little bit. Wow, look at that. I'm going to be rich. Okay, we are going to 50. This thing's going to break down. I am short, short, short. First short squeeze of the day. I completely missed this. Everyone saw where I missed it. I wanted it, and I missed my entry by 2 cents. I limited it instead of going market and paid for it. Didn't make that mistake the second time. Comes back, and then everyone looks at this and goes, hey, I'm a retail trader. Where's my 50-60 retrace? Oh, close enough for hand grenades. I'm going to short it there because it's still going to zero, and I don't know a damn thing about reading a TPO, and I do not understand how markets work, so I'm going to short this, right? And look, I'm rich again. I made a ton of money, right? And it's, don't forget, it's going to zero. So click over because I want you to put yourself in the mind of a retail trader, right? Oh, look, we can't get back out of the white zone if they even know that support level exists, right? And now we're underneath here, and they go, oh, it's really going to zero now. I'm going to kill it. I got my 50-60 retrace. It's going all the way down, right? Trap back above, little backside test, and now we are going to go and sweep the entire range, which is exactly what we did. Notice once we cleared it, it never comes back. Everyone is screwed right there, right here. Everyone and their brother is screwed. They're all going to have to pay, right? Okay, now let's take the next step. What did it actually look like when we were trading it from our setups? So you come back over here and you find this. Okay, so this is breaking it down to the most micro level, right? So we come all the way back over here, and I'm going to show you, we're looking at this at multiple ways, right? So remember, this is the 8 a.m. we're going to zero trade right here, right? And if everyone will recall, I wanted, remember these are the swing lows, right? I wanted my long somewhere right in here, and what I was targeting at first was to get above this. Couldn't happen, right? Roll down, I wasn't shorting, broke the low, looked like it was going to zero, right? And then I'm targeting this right here. You'll notice as soon as we close back above, right? There's the entry. Actually, I missed this, so I stand corrected. It went so fast. What am I missing here? Oh, the anomaly is there. So I mean the fractal is there. Let me redraw that so I don't miss it, right? Speed bars, anomaly. So this was the close above. It went so fast it was actually here by the time I was either distracted or I missed it. I limited 51, 52. It never backside tested, and it took off pretty much to 52 in a straight line. That was the first short squeeze, and that was the 50-60 retrace, right? Remember what I said. I'm not going to get upset if I miss the trade, right? I'm going to move right on over to whatever my next setup is, and if it goes without me, there's another trade, another day, some other market. There's always another trade set up. I don't have to chase it, right? And notice it doesn't give you a short signal to all the way without going through and setting up the whole short signal, but that's the short right there. And what did I say? I don't want to short because 5150 to 5160 is my support level, right? So I skipped on the short, which turned out to be a pretty damn decent short. Do I get upset? No. Why? Because I don't want to short into critical locations that I identify on the chart, which was a white zone. I don't want to short to it, particularly when it's already gotten into it, under it, back over it, and shot. I know that my risk in that market is it's going to shoot to the other end of the range. I don't care what that thing does. I don't want to get run over, so I skip the trade, right? Now remember, this is a great place to screw up your trading, right? Because now you're upset. You missed the long and you missed the short. And the short turns out to be quite the dandy because remember, we are now going, to zero, right? So then we come down and look at this. What do we have going on? First of all, we had our trend line up. They got broken over here. Again, I'm probably going to post this, so I'm not going to go through all the details, but everyone knows what I'm looking at. Next, we had trend line down over here that kind of sort of got broken and failed, right? And we didn't get above a creep. Even though it triggered above the trend line, I'm not a trend line trader. I needed additional evidence. I didn't get it, right? So we're coming in. Now look down here. Huge push, right? If we get underneath this thing and you don't know anything about the bigger time frame, you're going to go, man, look how big that push was. We get underneath this, right? So that's the delta wave. We get underneath that delta wave, it's going to go to zero. It gets underneath that, everyone jumps in, goes, we're underneath the biggest wave in town, we're going to zero, and guess what they do? Look at the delta over here. See this? Tiny, here, tiny delta wave. Okay, it was biggest at the time, but tiny, 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 tiny. I'll grant you there was no big buy waves, but these are all relatively small waves. We get underneath the biggest wave, and everyone goes, oh man, it's going to zero. Let me sell, 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 sell. If you can visualize a crummy trader, right, a guy who loses his money pretty quickly or consistently on the wrong side of the trade, he looks, he goes, we've broken the low, I'm below whatever magical number I've read about, and I'm going to pound the crap out of this right here. I see this, and what's the first thing that I did? I said, hey, there's the biggest sell of the day, right? And I'm going to mark that off right here. And the first thing I said was, if we get above here, I think I said right here, we get above that, I am long, unless I get a signal earlier than that, right? I am long, it's sweeping the range if we get above this, right? Because this was a big press at the low, and the day time frame TPO chart already told me these guys were trapping themselves, right? And you can visually see it if you watch the selling, right? So we come across, right? And then notice this is another opportunity for you to possibly get frustrated because outside of the trap right here, right? And what did I say? Oh, to line it up even better, what did I say over here? I don't want to buy support. Why? Because support is hard to buy on CL because they'll start dropping it and dripping it. And if you use a tight stop, like I do, they will tend to stop you a lot, right? They'll stop you, push it back in. You go, oh, I got tricked. I got to get in again. And they stop you again. You end up losing a lot of money and getting really frustrated. It's a crummy way to enter a trade. So now you look over here and you go, but I missed the entire low, right? We come off of 51.20 to 51.50, and Simon wants to frickin' buy 51.50. The man's got to be frickin' out of his mind, which may be true, right? I'm looking for a way to get into this thing. I don't care how far it's come off the low because I know what the bigger time frame looks like, right? Here's my speed bars right here, right? Notice that we had a lack of speed bars all the way through, except where? Here. We got underneath, we flushed. Here, speed bars over here, we got above, we ran. I made the mistake here of limiting here instead of going market, right? Wasn't going to make that mistake again. So I said, initially I wanted to get over here, and I said I had a limit. I was looking for a point of control and a bar to get above 51.54, right? But then I said, if we simply close above this, right, I'm long. If I get a point of control above here, right? Why? Again, I've now flushed everyone out. I've gotten a commitment of sellers. I know I'm about to get over my biggest down wave. I know that they try to break and get underneath the biggest buy wave of the day, And I know from the day time frame that 5150 to 5140 was incredibly important, right? I am long, I think right here, I think I went 56, I think was my fill, 5156. I just hit the market button. 5156, 5157 is what I got filled at, right? And I said that at the time, I'm not letting go of any of this, right? I'm not letting go of any of this, and my stop is now 2 ticks behind here. Essentially 5140 was my stop, 16 cents, and I said I think I have 100 ticks available to me on this trade potentially, right? Again, that's different than me predicting what the market's going to do. I'm reading what the market's doing. I see the sellers, I see the buyers, I see the prolonged attempt to break the low, I see 7 days in a row, bottom of balance. Last little thing that needed to be corrected got corrected. Doesn't mean this trade would have worked, but what it does mean is I got set up pretty much perfectly with an easy tight stop, and then the rest is history. Notice it never comes back, and I pointed out, see when we got that, I said you can just simply move your stop to 51, 68, or 67, right? And I took a scale at 20 cents up and 30 cents up. I think those were my scales, maybe 40 cents, somewhere in there, right? Now watch, there's your stop, right? You have to have it behind here, right? There's your speed bars. Now, 2 things. You didn't want to get behind here. That was fine, it never did. And then there's your speed bars. If we closed underneath, I'd probably been screwed. And then if I could have gotten above here, right, I was home free. And now I also had trend line to work off of, right? And so that was truly a potential rollover location. And if I didn't know, I just repaired the chart, I could have gotten in trouble over here, right? Except I never got triggered, right? I stand corrected. If someone had that right there at 5166, you got tagged. I didn't see that. Okay. And then you can see the push. And let me go back for a second. Even if you had gotten tagged in here, right? See how the speed bar set up? See how this is the last fractal right here? I want to go through this now that I didn't see because I took a nap. But see right here? So remember, my stop's all the way back here. I'm pretty sure we're going, right? But I said, if you wanted to tighten it up, you could. But let me show you how you could have re-entered the trade, right? So you come in underneath and you go, well, hey, if I get underneath this guy, we probably could roll lower, right? So watch how the bar's set up. There's your speed bars. Notice the POC. I'm going to really spread this out so you can see it, right? See how the POC never got underneath the speed bar, right? So see that close right there? See how that's back above the speed bar, right? There's a fractal to the downside. That's your entry. And actually, instead of using this fractal, you could have used this as your stop right here. If you want a super tight stop, that right there. If you want a little bit looser stop, that right there. And it still sets you up for the next continuation to the upside. And I woke up from my nap right here and sold it because damn, I'm tired. I've been going at it since 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. And that's a good trade for me, right? Really, what I should have done is done this. There's my stop right there at 52.06. And I would be selling it at 52.50, which, by the way, is the anomaly and exactly where we went. So hypothetically, I left 40 cents on the table as we're going into the close, right? So I want to go back again. If you did get stopped out over here, right? If you did get stopped out, where did I say you could put your stop was, back over here, you could put your stop here. A, you still made money, right? But B, you could have scooted it up because you already trailed out, right? And then all you got to do to capture the next leg up is 2 places. You could have waited till we closed above this point or re-entered on the speed bars and you still had that next leg up. Now, when the market is moving like that in ES and C and NQ, we make a lot of money. When it gets chopped and stuck in bad areas, which is why it's important that you understand what you're looking at on the profile, that's when you have to go, I don't want to trade this area, or I have to reduce trade size or be patient, because you see how differently from my review earlier of ES, right? You see how differently that they were trading, right? And the important thing in this whole deal was this right here, right? I was just watching and watching. I was like, oh, I guess it is going to zero. Those guys win. I go, oh, wow. Look how much sell pressure they put in that. If this gets back in here, these guys are totally toast, right? If you don't understand what this is, what this area is, if you don't understand all that, and you don't understand how charts get completed up and down, you don't understand how profile charts get repaired, you have no clue that you're sitting on a 100 tick trade, right? And then You had to have the physical and mental perseverance to stay in a trade. But that is how you pull 100 ticks out of CL, and that's how you find where guys are trapped. And most important thing out of that whole deal is when the trade runs away from you, whether it's an NQ, CL, ES, or whatever else you trade, you just lay back and go, hey, something else will set up and come my way, and there'll be another trade and I'll get paid on it, right? And what you really want to do as a day trader is identify whether you're just in a scalp, hit and run, get the hell out mode, or if you're in a special opportunity like we were today with CL, where you could really make that trade knock out of the park. So now that I've gone through that whole thing and I'll post it up for members, does that make sense to everybody? Derek, that's exactly how we covered it in coaching, right? Remember how this weekend, we did that exactly this weekend. Okay. And that rule applies to CL, ES, NQ, all of them. Okay, they all set up the same. You just got to figure out whether you're in a chop fest or you've actually gotten a setup, right? So when you look at this, see this right here? Let's say, see how it reached target up here, right? Going right into the close, right? And was like, oh, but it's reversed, right? So I have two ways of handling that trade. Let's say this was my target and I wanted the short, right? I'm going to look here, 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 here. Close underneath, right here, right? So where does my stop have to go on that? Right here, right? So we could even manage it in real time, even though I don't recommend trading at the close. This would be my entry, 51.45. It would require, let's call it a 51.64 stop, okay? So I have 20 cents. So I have to go through a couple thought processes. A, do I want to trade the close? 99.9% of the time, hell no. But B, right, notice now that I got these speed bars right here, I can now drag my stop down right here because I don't want to get above this. So I'm going to look at 51.49 and I'm going to go like this, right? So now if I entered here, I had an opportunity to get out of the trade, move my stop, and if you still think it's going to zero after the close and we just short squeezed everyone, and we're going to come back and test this 51.80, you now have, whereas your original stop was 51.64, you can reduce risk to 50 to 51 from a 44, much smaller stop. Again, I don't recommend trading this time of day at all, zero, zip, none, right? And now you have a chance to come back and test areas lower, which it may or may not want to do. Your entry was at 44, you're trading 39, and now you have to decide whether you're a scalper or you're actually going to try to get a roll after the close, which is, generally speaking, very difficult. And the most important thing, right? Go back to the chart, the TPO, right? So when you look at the TPO, right? When you look at the TPO, is that a bar that normally ends up reversing and breaking, right? Or is that a bar that says, hey, I probably have support. I probably have support underneath. To me, that's a chart that says, hey, I probably have support, and if I get lucky, I'm going to come back and test 52. If I get lucky, and if I get unlucky, we're going to clear 51.69 and come up and test 53.25 to 53.37. And I'm now trading where it really, really, really dies this time of day. So I'm probably either not short or a scalper here. And I'm trying to bring my stop to break even as quickly as possible. And maybe I'm crossing my fingers so I get lucky. That is the difference between NQ, ES, and CL today, was that ES and NQ are stuck at the top of Friday's range. And CL broke, trapped sellers, and pushed above, and we had the same trade to the upside in ES on Friday, and NQ for that matter. They trapped themselves the exact same way, and it had the net same effect, right? So anyways, that's my 2 cents. I'm going to pause this.